It looked like the ESPN reporter has just dropped some major information about Caitlin Clark and everybody in the WNBA 2026 season. Guys, we got to talk about
it. It is imperative that we discuss the current situation. A shocking report that could ruin the entire 2026 WNBA season was just released by an ESPN reporter. And yeah, I'm not at all exaggerating. The clock is running out of time. The same deal that permits basketball to be played. The league's collective bargaining agreement is scheduled to expire tonight at precisely 11:59. Furthermore, the owners and the players are not simply separated. According to every piece of reporting we've heard, they are far from reaching an agreement. There is a complete impasse. There is no consensus on the underlying problem. The entire extraordinary momentum created by Caitlin Clark is in grave risk because of this dangerous circumstance. It is immediately in danger of being totally extinguished by a lockout, which, to be honest, the owners appear more than happy to allow to occur. Take a moment to consider that. Millions of new fans enter the world of women's basketball thanks to the unique phenomena known as the Caitlin Clark effect. And now the league itself appears ready to ignite that amazing momentum as a whole, all due to long-standing, acrimonious financial disputes. And let's tell it like it is. This also has to do with sheer, undiluted ego.
Apologizing? You make decisions, marketing. I want people watching. I want eyeballs. I want advertising dollars. Why? Because he'll get paid. Y'all will get paid. And guess who else will get paid? You see where I'm coming from? That's what it's about. Stop acting. Otherwise, we know this. You don't sit up there and pass.
So, let me ask you this directly. Do you really think the WNBA will go through with a lockout and purposefully ruin everything Caitlin Clark has created for this league in the last 12 months? Sincerely, I would want to know your thoughts. This is becoming a really serious problem, so please share your thoughts in the comments. As the WNBA's current collective bargaining agreement steadily approaches expiration, ESPN's Alexa Philippou has recently outlined the worst-case possibilities that the league is facing. Remember, that deadline is tonight at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. We're just a few hours from the brink of the cliff as I record this. And the possible consequences, well, they can be anything from terrible to completely disastrous. The amazing once-in-a-generation momentum that Caitlin Clark has created for women's basketball is in danger of being totally derailed by each and every one of them. In order to fully appreciate how severely the WNBA owners are mishandling this once-in-a-lifetime chance, let's examine the 4 potential outcomes that Philippou described. All right, the first situation. The simplest and most sensible course of action would be for the players and the league to agree on an extension. In essence, this would keep the lights on and let basketball play while the finer points are worked out behind the scenes. However, there's a huge, obvious issue with that seemingly straightforward concept. They would have reached a decision days, or perhaps weeks ago, if they were going to agree on something so simple. Everything you need to know is shown by the fact that the deadline is only a few hours away, and both sides are utterly silent. The players are completely tired of getting the short end of the stick in every negotiation. The owners are digging in and won't give up, and nobody is prepared to budge. Let's move on to the second case. The league and the Players Association enter what is known as a status quo phase when no extension is signed. This essentially means that while they continue to communicate, the previous regulations and working conditions remain in effect. Philippou took great care to clarify that this does not inevitably result in a work standstill. However, let's refer to this situation as it actually is. Kicking the can down the road is all that's involved. It does nothing to address the underlying, deep-seated issues that initially led to the standoff, and it is really a weak temporary band-aid on a huge, deep wound. The third scenario, a work stoppage, is the one that should undoubtedly alarm every fan. This might take the form of a lockout started by the owners, which is thought to be considerably more likely, or a strike called by the players. This is the nuclear option, my friends. This scenario has the disastrous potential to cause women's basketball to regress by a full decade, and puts an end to the Caitlin Clark effect. Consider it. Fans won't return if they watch the 2026 season expecting to see their new favorite players shining on the court, but instead discover barred arena entrances and postponed games. Let's be really clear about this. Casual fans don't wait for labor problems to be settled. They simply proceed to the myriad other entertainment options at their disposal. The fourth scenario is the last one. Despite all the odds, they managed to come up with a new CBA before the deadline. However, Filippo painstakingly clarified that every indication suggests that this is totally off the agenda. Right now, it's a complete delusion. In the few valuable hours they have left, the disparity between what the owners are offering and what the players legitimately believe they deserve is just too great. Additionally, the background of all of this makes the looming catastrophe even more dire. Major, non-negotiable dates for the WNBA are quickly approaching. There will be a two-team expansion draft for the Toronto Tempo and the recently formed Portland Fire. It's important to keep in mind that those teams paid hefty expansion fees in the hopes of building rosters and playing basketball. If there's a labor stoppage, what will happen to their enormous investment? Do they simply wait for the lockout to expire before their first season is completely erased? The free agency bomb is another issue. All but 2 of the league season players are set to become free agents. This was expected to be the most dynamic and revolutionary free agency period in WNBA history. Teams were expected to be creating championship contenders and rearranging their lineups. However, none of that is possible without a CBA. New contracts cannot be signed by players. Teams are not allowed to trade. The league as a whole simply stagnates, a testament to its own dysfunction.
Is this happening without Caitlin Clark? Without the popularity? Because we've seen what happened to the ratings when she was out for those 2-3 weeks. Remember that, right? Don't let me bring that up. Don't let me get some receipts now. When Caitlin Clark was out, the WNBA's popularity dissipated. That is a fact. Ticket prices, television ratings, it's a fact. It's undeniable. It's undeniable. That's not to throw shade on a product and act like it doesn't grow at all. It's not to say that there was an improvement and there wasn't an elevation in its popularity. It's just saying that it's on another dimension when it comes to Caitlin Clark. Do you know what the best thing that could happen for the WNBA is right now? Are you ready for this? If Caitlin Clark and the Fever win the championship.
And this whole chaotic mess raises a crucial point that even the most committed journalists covering this league for a living are finding difficult to respond to. If there's a lockout, what would happen to the WNBA draft? Just take a moment to consider the ramifications. Does the draft lottery, which creates a lot of excitement and noise, actually take place? Or what about the actual draft? Do they go ahead and hold it, picking all these amazing college players, who then end up in a strange situation where they are unable to report to their new teams, sign contracts, and, most importantly, get paid? The logistical difficulty of a work stoppage goes so far beyond just postponing a few games on the schedule. We are discussing a total shutdown that impacts every aspect of the league's operations, a self-inflicted injury that might affect the very future it is meant to be constructing.
Because this is the most popular women's basketball player in the world, and it ain't close. They had to move the Mystic game to an NBA arena. Name the time, and I'm going to turn it over to you because I don't want to get long-winded. I want somebody, one of our women colleagues, Stephen A., to tell me when a WNBA game has had to be moved because of a woman player. Just one. Just tell me one. Because I know in her attendance, she's averaging about 17,000. All the other WNBA games in which she's not a participant average about 7. So are we really trying to go to game? Is that what we're really trying to do? Or are we just talking about we're trying to grow the game and just bulljive?
For a time, be honest, millions of casual fans first became interested in the WNBA because of her. The league hadn't seen such high audience figures in decades thanks to Clark. Not only did she sell out full arenas for her home games, but she also sold them out when she traveled the nation. For some who had never seen a single game in their lives, she alone made women's basketball a must-see appointment television. There was more to the Caitlin Clark effect than just publicity. It was genuine. It might be measured, Additionally, it was extremely beneficial to the league's financial performance. However, momentum is crucial, particularly when interacting with a new casual audience. It is extremely brittle. We're not referring to ardent supporters who will support the league no matter what. We are referring to the millions of people that watched because the games were finally available and Clark was thrilling to watch. Those same people will be gone if they anticipate seeing her perform in 2026 and discover that the entire season has been canceled due to a dispute between a group of millionaire owners and players about how to divide an ever-increasing sum of money. Forget about it. They'll look for alternative sports, Netflix series, and ways to spend their money and time. The owners are making a huge blunder if they think for 1 second they can just lock out the players and expect all these new supporters to just wait around patiently. Sports fans have almost limitless entertainment alternatives and infamously short attention spans. And the fact that the WNBA was at last turning a profit is what makes the entire scenario so frustrating. The NBA's subsidies were the only thing keeping this league going for decades, as it continuously lost money. When Caitlin Clark showed up, the whole business plan completely changed. The number of people watching television skyrocketed. Sales of merchandise skyrocketed. Sales of tickets skyrocketed. Corporate sponsors that had ignored the league for years were now lining up with large checks. And how does the owner react to having a growing, successful product at last? Refusing to fairly distribute those earnings to the very participants who made it all possible seems to be a danger of completely ruining it. This degree of avaricious short-sightedness has the potential to permanently destroy the golden goose. Additionally, there is another significant reason why the timing of this possible lockout could not be worse. Unrivaled basketball and other alternative leagues are circling like sharks that detect blood in the ocean. They are deliberately setting themselves up to acquire WNBA players. Better working conditions, shorter seasons, and competitive compensation are all provided by Unrivaled. The moment the WNBA locks them out, they are prepared to jump in and begin signing players. Additionally, these are not some fly-by-night operations. Some of these alternative leagues have sound business models and substantial financial support. They won't disappear. What happens if the WNBA enters a lockout and elite players begin to sign with Unrivaled? Are those players simply returning? A lockout gives the competition all the leverage on a silver plate, and the entire competitive landscape is changing. This highlights how dysfunctional everything is, which leads us back to the expansion scenario. Based on growth forecasts that were nearly totally influenced by the Caitlin Clark effect, Portland and Toronto paid enormous expansion fees. These cities are recruiting personnel, promoting their new teams, and creating fan communities from the ground up. And before a single player even on the court, their first seasons may be canceled as a reward. It's a complete slap in the face. Now, let's be fair and take a brief look at this from the player's point of view. For decades, WNBA players have been criminally underpaid in comparison to the money they bring in. While their NBA colleagues had charter flights, they have been flying commercially. In order to earn a living wage, they have been playing abroad during their off-season. The league wants their fair share now that they are finally rich with cash. That isn't irrational. It's fundamental economics. The trouble is by risking a work stoppage, they're also endangering the very momentum that gave them this advantage in the first place. The goal of the 30-day extension that brought us to this stage was to compel a compromise. Instead, it has turned into a high-stakes game of chicken in which neither team wants to blink first. And Caitlin Clark does nothing except wait during it all. These negotiations are beyond her control. All she can do is watch as the league that at last accepted her threatens to waste the entire phenomena she brought about. A lockout won't harm her personal brand. She has enormous endorsement deals, but the WNBA as an institution might. The owners are about to ruin everything Clark created, and the league needs her far more than Clark needs the league right now. What do you think, then? Will they actually let everything fall apart, or will they come to an agreement at the last minute? Please share your predictions in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe and like for more updates on this evolving problem.